All right, today we are covering lessons 16.5, which are called histograms. And our essential question is how can you display data in histogram? This is what a histogram looks like. So again, it's going to look very basic. And it's basically a bar graph, but this is what we have here down below. We have little ranges of values. All right, so you're not just plotting the number one. How many times does the number one appear? We have a range here, counting by threes. And so there's a way for you guys to draw conclusions and make an analysis based off of that information, which we'll see in a minute. All right, so taking a step back, yesterday we took a look at those dot plots, and this again is another basketball question. Each player attempted 50 free throws, and these are the numbers now of the number that each person made. And now what they want you to do is to take the information from the dot plot and put it into your histogram table. All right, so it sets up pretty nice here. So especially with the different colors, you'll see now our first interval, is from 20 to 29. So I'm just going to draw a line right there. So that's my first interval, and just count the three dots, right? Next, we go from 30 to 39. So there's my next group right here. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then last, it goes from 40 to 44, but that's in my interval of 40 to 49. So I'm going to put my two dots there. So it's a really quick way, again, to look at centers of information. You can see most of the data is in that range right there. So that's going to be where your focus would be. If you're going to calculate an average, that's where it would be. So just quick questions here that Go Math gives us. Can you use the dot plot to find the mean and the median? Of course you could. You just add the values up again, and then you just divide by the number of dots. Right, in the median, again, you start from left to right. You find how many you have. And what do we have here? We have 13, so it's going to be that seventh one over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be right there in terms of 35. All right, so it's there twice, but it's just one of them. All right, and then lastly, how do you find the number of data values in a data set from a dot plot? You would count the dots, right? How would you find the number of data values from a frequency table, which we have here, and then you would just add the numbers that you have. So that's the whole idea. It's just another way to look at information. It's going to be a skill that you guys are going to see in a lot of different forms, over the years, all these different types of graphs. And all again is it just thinking, how are you seeing the data? What is it showing you? So take a look at this one here. A bird watcher counts and records the number of birds at a bird feeder every morning at 9 a.m. for several days. All right, so there's your numbers there. And then you'll see the histogram that's there. All right, so take a look at our graph. It's showing us that if you want to see a lot of birds from 13 to 16, so if you're a bird lover, all right, that's only happened one day. So it's not going to happen very often. But on the contrast, if you are looking for just one or a few birds to show up, that's going to most likely happen. All right, so that's a good thing if you want to see at least one. It's not a good thing if you want to see several. So this is what they kind of talk about drawing conclusions. All right, the two conclusions you could draw are usually they only come by themselves, and it's very rare that you're going to see a bunch of birds at that bird feeder. Let's take a look at what else we have here. So here's another one, rating of movies. Make a histogram here. It's the same things that we've been working on. We could do this very, very quickly, 1 to 2. All right, there's only one of those. All right, so that would be there. And then from 3 to 4, what do we have? We have 1, 2, so right up to that 2 line. 5 to 6, we have 1, 2, 3. A lot of your graphs were better than mine yesterday with the dots. I was pretty impressed by some of you guys. And what do we have next? We have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in terms of 7s and 8s. And then lastly, 9 or 10, we have 1 or 2. We have 2. So there it is. All right, and what we would do now is we're going to calculate some of these data sets, data points, calculate the range. All right, so you can't see from inside of there. What you would have to do is go back to your set right there, and you would have to then see, because according to this, you could have two values that are a 9. So you have to use your max and then minus your minimum. All right, so what is our minimum again? It's our lowest number. We don't have 0 here, so we have a 1. So a few of you guys got the range wrong yesterday. I'm not sure how we can do that when the dots are really showing you what those would be. The next are our median. All right. So again, a little bit harder to see on this one here. So again, I suggest you using the numbers here, putting them in order. So what do we have again? Well, actually, you can use this to get to the starting point like we've talked about, right? And then we can go from there. So we have 1, 3, 6, plus 7 is 13, 14, 15. All right, so it's going to be the 8th point over. So what I can do now is I can use the numbers inside, and I can find out where my 8th point is going to be. All right, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 6, and then it's going to be the 7th, 8th. So it's going to be the second point in the 7 to 8 line. So that would be my first, that would be my second. It's going to be 7. All right, so it just shows you where to look. And then lastly, mode. If you remember, that's the number that appears the most. All right, so most likely going to be in here right now. You just have to go back and you have to see which one has more. Is it 7s? So we have 1, 2, 3 7s. And we have how many 8s? 1, 2, 3, 4 8s. So 8 appears the most, 4 times versus 3 times. So that's how you use that to help you. All right, it's kind of a reference point. Instead of just going back from scratch, you know right away where to look because of that. All right, so your work for today is going to be to create a couple of histograms here. You're going to put together this one here based off of the intervals. So again, use what they give you. They give you 0 to 9, so count by 9s, then put that in there. All right, so down below, calculate then the range, the median, the mode for those. The next one here, you're going to then do the same thing. Then you're going to actually graph them. So do those bars like you saw on the other, and then make some conclusion. Make at least one conclusion you can draw about the cafe seats. And then lastly, we have another one here, an amusement park. Employee records the ages of the people who ride the new roller coaster, all right, during the 15-minute period. All right, so make your histogram here. Describe 2 things you know about the riders who represented. All right, so draw 2 conclusions. And then you're going to use your labels here going across. All right, so any questions? Again, a pretty simple, straightforward lesson, which should be good for a lot of high scores today.